Welcome everyone to Frank Finance, where you can get your honest finance information and your questions answered. Today is the first part of a multi-series review that's going to discuss personal finance. In order to understand the lay of the land of personal finance, you really need to understand your budget, the debt you have or the future debt you'll incur, your current investments, or your future retirement accounts to ultimately track your net worth. Your net worth will ultimately be something that you will review monthly, quarterly, annually to make sure that you're achieving your goal. So this first part series will be discussing your budget, and the future videos will cover the other three topics. All right, so today we're going to talk about your budget. What is a budget? Well, a budget is your income less your expenses. And so in order to do that, ultimately, you need to be able to go through all of your income sources you receive today, what actually gets deposited in your bank account, less all the expenses that actually come out of your bank account. So what I'm going to do here is bring up an Excel document to talk through what does that look like. So as you can see in front of you, there is a personal budget, annual and by month. I have the by month grouped up for right now for review purpose. And in order to figure out your income sources, you need to think about all the income sources you receive, whether it's an average, bi-weekly, bi-monthly, or maybe some other way. Maybe you only earn income in the summer, maybe you only earn income in the winter, and so there could be multiple different ways in how you earn income, but what does that actually look like? And really to think about your income as a form of what actually gets deposited in your bank account, not what is your salary on your offer letter, because that's not what gets put in your bank account. It's much easier to track your income sources by what physically gets put into your bank account. And this file here is set up to have a by month, so you're able to track exactly what I just mentioned. Right now it's just set to average over here on the right, so that whatever inputs get put in is able to get averaged over on the right and ultimately totaled for you, so you can see what does that look like over the course of a year. Now, expenses. This is probably the most difficult area to budget because there's a lot of variables in most areas. So I like to think about your expenses in three tranches. You got to think about it from your household perspective. What does it cost to actually live in your current environment? Because people move from house to house, rental to rental, location to location, and every portion of those expenses will potentially change. You know, in one city you might have to pay for parking, in another city you might not have to. And so when you think of the household tranche here, it's good to think about all of the components that make up what does it cost to live where you currently are today. And then from the next tranche that I'd like to talk about is transportation. How much does it cost for your vehicle? The car payment, the car insurance, and the gas to ultimately go from A to B. And so I like to think of transportation in all in one bucket. You could probably think about parking as part of transportation, but I like to think about parking as part of your household expense. You could look at that one of two ways. If you commute to a location that maybe costs parking per month, you might want to, think about how you want to put that in here. But to me, I think of parking as your household expense because I think of parking costs as someone that's a renter, and maybe they get underground parking. They maybe pay extra for a garage or something of that sort. And then the final bucket to think about here is your all other, which is kind of the catch-all. So how much do you spend each month on food? Now think of food as all in. What does it cost for groceries, going out to eat, any type of expense like that? Put it all in one bucket. Think about it as one solid function. The food that you're putting in your mouth, put it all together. You have other items like student loans, entertainment expenses, maybe subscriptions, and then kind of your all other. That would be however you want to bucket this. Now these rows, this file here, you could add 20 more rows if you wanted to. You could simplify it a little bit more than this. This is just to give an example and spark thought of how you would look at your expenses, because everyone's are different. So what I've done here on the right is also kind of put some comments or considerations that you want to think about as you're going through these. And so when you bring all your tranches up here together for expenses, that gets you your total expense. Ultimately, your total expense needs to be deducted from your income because this will be your cash in and cash out. Obviously, if your cash in is less than your cash out, you are going to lose money every single month. In this small average here thing I've got going on in front of you, this individual is losing money. This would be an individual that is now realizing, hey, I actually spend more than I make. I need to think about which one of these buckets can I adjust? Which bucket do I care most about? Or how could I maybe increase my income? But this is the first and most important thing in really getting to personal finance is understanding where you at today. If you don't know where you're at today, you're never going to build a plan for the future. Using, oh, I've got 500 in my bank account right now as a way of saying that you're sitting okay, it's really tough to plan with that. And if something comes out of the ordinary, it's very tough to basically recover from that. And personal finance to me is one of those things that never got taught in school. They really never went over it in college unless you went for an accounting or finance degree. And even then, it's more corporate than it is personal. So, from a personal perspective, you really got to start with your budget and understand where you at today before you can start planning forward. And that's an example of what this file will do. And one thing with this file is that I'm going to leave a link below that will go to my Discord, which will have this file in there for you to review and play around with and used as you will. It's free. There's no charge to using Discord. And personalize it to yourself. If you ever need help with it, I'm more than happy to help you. Go through a call and talk through how to set up your budget. To me, this is fun, and I enjoy personal finance. So always feel free to reach out or comment below on questions you might have about this file or how to budget in general. Well, hopefully this video helped you understand how to create a budget and plan for the future. There will be series 2 through 4 coming in the future. And again, if you want the document that was discussed today, the link below is going to be for a Discord link, which will ultimately be where the file is located. And then if you would like to see more live views on finance discussions, my Twitch channel will also be linked below, which is going to happen on every Sunday night is when I will do a finance review. Typically it's about 9 p.m. Central to 10 p.m. Central is when I will log on, and it is open for any discussion. So hopefully you have a good rest of your day, and thank you for tuning in.